You know, I think about myself and coming through foster care. I spent 18 years in foster care. As foster care youth, we've been through a traumatic situation. And being through that traumatic situation, there's gonna be some anger. There's gonna be some acting out. There's gonna be some things that's happened, you know, if you could put yourself in our shoes and say, hey, if I'm snatched from my parents, even if it's for a good reason, I still as a child understand how that affects me and what kind of reaction I may have to it. We were the ones victimized, but then we're the ones getting labeled. You know, we're the ones getting labeled as bad or manipulative or, you know, or no sense of direction, or violent or angry. And it's like, well, I try to tell foster parents, especially workers too, look at this child as a child who's been through a traumatic situation. Don't put a label on them.
One of the things I just want people to know is to really get past the labels of foster care in general and foster kids, because one time I got a chance to look at one of my brother's files, and it looked terrible. Kind of, it was he's this and he's that, and not a lot of positive things. And for me, it was kind of hard to see, like, why would somebody put this about him, because I don't see that. But you know, if you put all my problems and all the things that I deal with on a photo or a file, I'll look pretty bad too.
There's this misconception about pit bulls, that they're aggressive, that they're bad, that, you know, they're in attack mode all the time. And I think that was kind of what you hear about foster care youth, that they're angry, that they're violent, and they're going to cause all major problems in your home, that they're runaways. And, you know, that was one of the things I was like, oh, I can tackle that. And then I get young men in my home that those are not the true issues. The real issues is that they've experienced a lot of trauma. They've experienced going from one home to the next, to be 8 years old, and then by the time from 8 to 15, you've moved almost 10, 11 times. So there's a lot of brokenness.
Those are some of the things that I just face, you know, coming through foster care. And I know dealing with a lot of young people, they are facing those same things of, you know, not having that support, somebody just to bounce some ideas off of. You know, the hard part is when you're changing schools, and we have a lot of young people who their first semester or first year, it just doesn't go the way that they would have liked it to go because of the lack of support, lack of resources. So they end up having to change schools, and that becomes scary because it's like, now I'm starting all over. I feel like a failure. It's just a confusing time. Your brain is really running at 100 miles per hour.
But I think the hardest part for a youth, if it's okay for me to share this, the hardest part for a youth is that they have so many different workers that kind of come in and out of their lives that it really becomes an issue of who can you trust. So I really challenge workers, if you know, that to really, if you're going to be a part of a child's life, really kind of see them through it if at all possible, because they really respect that.
The workers, they would come in, and sometimes they would set us up with counselors and people that could really help our family really work. And we would have different types of meetings with different therapists and different people that can kind of help our family get along and really mold our family into a real, actual family, and not a foster family, but a family.
Be understanding and compassionate to what they've been to, and then work from there. Work on helping them change that behavior and working through that anger that they feel.
One of the things that I have learned with all of my boys is that they always really wanted to be accepted. They wanted me to allow them to have the freedoms to make the mistakes and not really feel like if they made a mistake that their home will be stripped away from them. And I think that when you are a foster parent, you have that ability to, you know, make those types of huge, drastic changes in a child's life because they don't behave the way that you had expected them to behave. You've given them all of this attention and affection, and you've followed all of the rules, and, you know, you've allowed them to come into your home, and now they're not doing what you expect them to do. And so now they're left with feeling like they can be easily taken away. They've had these experiences. And so I just challenge everybody to really be advocates for young people and steadfast, be present. You know, one of the mottos I have is the best gift a father can give. And I'll say the best gift that anybody can give is to be present in the lives of young people because they need us.
I guarantee if you are patient, loving, and open, you'll see a different child than the one that first entered into your door or first walked into your office.